seize the day. Gather ye rosebuds while ye may. Why does the writer use these lines?
Because he's in a hurry.
No. Ding! Thanks for playing anyway. Because we are food for worms, lads. Because believe it or not, each and every one of us in this room is one day going to stop breathing, turn cold, and die. I'd like you to step forward over here.
Peter Weir's 1989 Dead Poets Society is one of the most critically acclaimed films around. It is a take on the classic movie motif of what it means to pursue one's dreams and whether such pursuit is foolish and brings about only pain, or if pursuit of dreams is the only way to truly live, regardless of whether the dream works out or not. In this analysis, I will dive into what it is about Dead Poets Society that makes the film stand apart from the dozens of other movies which also take on the topic of pursuing one's dreams. This film follows a group of teenage boys in the highly prestigious all-boys prep school, Welton Academy. Each of the boys receives a huge amount of pressure from their parents to become doctors, lawyers, and Ivy League students. Neil Perry, one of the main characters of the film, especially struggles with pressure from his father, who wants him to give up his dream of acting in order to focus on becoming a doctor. Life for these boys begins to take a turn when they meet their new English teacher, Mr. Keatings. Keatings, played by Robin Williams, encourages his students to seize the day and understand that there is more to life than just prestigious careers. With Keatings' help, the boys begin to think for themselves and pursue their passions, to the great dismay of Welton faculty and particularly Neil's father. When Neil's father discovers that his son has gone behind his back and joined a play, he is furious. At the climax of the film, after Neil's stunning performance in a Shakespeare play, his father tells him that he is to be taken out of Welton immediately and sent to military school in order to stay focused on becoming a doctor. That very night, Neil takes his own life using the pistol his father kept in his study. As a result, Welton Academy launches an investigation and fires Mr. Keating as a scapegoat, claiming that Keating encouraged his students to pursue outrageous dreams and insubordination, which led to Neil's death. The film ends with the Welton boys sending their beloved teacher off in a rebellious act of standing atop their desks and bidding Mr. Keatings farewell with one last "Oh Captain, my Captain." So how exactly does Dead Poets Society have such esteemed reviews? It doesn't have a particularly happy ending. In fact, it leaves viewers with a sort of internal debate, wondering if Keatings truly is the cause of Neil's death, since had he not encouraged his pupil to pursue acting, Neil still would have been with us. Well, I argue that this is exactly why Dead Poets Society has become such a favorite, because it is a painfully realistic take on the pursuit of dreams. It's self-aware of the cynical, follow your dreams and you'll be happy trope. Rather than ending the film at the closing of Neil's play, where he receives a standing ovation and fulfills his dream of acting, and where each of the Welton boys has had successful growth of character, Dead Poets Society introduces a tragic and heartbreaking ending. It ends with Neil taking his own life at a tragically young age, the boys all turning on one another, and Keatings being blamed for the death of his student and losing the job of teaching, which he is clearly passionate about. By breaking the stereotype and leaving us with an unsatisfying and distinctly unhappy ending, this film forces us to truly analyze the pursuit of our dreams and consider the cruel reality that comes with them. All of the teachings from Keatings, all of the poems read, and each piece of character development is all the more meaningful because of Neil's death. Rather than falsely convince the audience that pursuing your passions will bring you joy and success, Dead Poets Society reminds us that we can chase after our dreams and still find a tragic ending. It designs a thought experiment that forces us to consider the trade-off which comes with pursuing dreams. Do you pursue what makes you happy and risk being unsuccessful, or do you take a safe and providential career but let your dreams go unfulfilled? We see this idea displayed through many of the cinematic elements in Dead Poets Society: dialogue, mise-en-scène, camera movement, and more. The dialogue of the film is particularly meaningful, though. The very quote used to open every meeting of the Dead Poets Society is the basis of Neil's character development and the reason why he pursued acting. The quote, from Henry David Thoreau, reads, "I went to the woods because I wanted to live deliberately. I wanted to live deep and suck all the marrow out of life, to put to rout all that was not life, and not, when I had come to die, discover that I had not lived." This quote directly affects the meaning of Neil's death. telling viewers that although Neil died, he had surely lived. Additional support of this idea is seen in Neil's dialogue with his roommate Todd about Neil auditioning for the play.
I'm gonna act. Ah! Yes! Yes! I'm gonna be an actor. Ever since I can remember, I wanted to try this. I even tried to go to summer stock auditions last year, but of course my father wouldn't let me. For the first time in my whole life, I know what I want to do. And for the first time, I'm gonna do it! Whether my father wants me to or not. Carpe diem!
Here we see Neil becoming himself, finding joy in himself and his passions even though they don't match up with his father's expectations. For the first time in the film, we see him truly embrace life and truly be happy about his future. Overall, I would rate Dead Poets Society 4.5 stars. Oftentimes, movies that discuss the pursuit of dreams can be seen as tacky and misleading because they portray unrealistic standards for success that make it seem as if things will always work out if you're happy with what you do. Dead Poets Society is not guilty of this. Dark and tragic as it may be, it is shockingly realistic. It uses dialogue and poetry and gives the words meanings rather than just placement. It forces a reflection of one's own life. It's a movie that isn't over when the credits start to roll because it leaves you thinking and contemplating. To leave you with a quote from Mr. Keatings to reflect on, "We don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race, and the human race is filled with passion. In medicine, law, business, engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we stay alive for."